ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times, cause anything worth doing is
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Today we are breaking down first Green Day plays, and you might be wondering, what are they? Honestly, they are some of my favorite plays. I feel like the setup and the structure of them are pretty basic and pretty simple. It's a very easy concept and understanding, but trading them is where it gets a little tricky. So we can get into them right here. So first Green Days, I mean, we're looking at AMTD, and we're looking at a couple of stocks in this video. But as you can see, it makes this big run up here. Doesn't really have a first Green Day over here. Kind of has the gap and failed one right there. But where I'm looking at is right here. Let's move that over a little bit. So as you can see, it had a nice big Green Day. Just randomly. I think it had news or something on the 14th of September last year. But just big Green Day, big day. It had that day too, but it did fail. And then we kind of see that this pullback on the daily chart. So first Green Days don't happen all the time, and don't ever think that they are guaranteed. They aren't at all. They can easily just not happen. But pretty much what first Green Days are is it's either when a stock makes a big move, or it is a runner, and a runner is a multi-day kind of run, like it spikes not just for this one day, but maybe it has this day one and then this day two. We kind of have a consolidation day. We see like a day three, where it has multiple days where it offers lots of plays. It spiked a good amount, especially from the beginning of the run to the top. It's a lot of fun. They're great. We haven't seen a lot of them recently, but yeah, it's either a stock makes a big move, or it's a runner that is coming down, and it has that daily bounce. Again, not all of them have it. We can be going over BuzzFeed too. BuzzFeed, it had that little bit of a run, and now it's coming down, and people keep trying to buy the first Green Day, and they are getting chopped up on it. They're getting just very frustrated because it is not happening, or at least it hasn't happened yet as of the time of this recording. But yeah, so we see the spike, it kind of comes down, and we see this first Green Day. This first Green Day wasn't perfect because usually I like to see volume. Volume is the key indicator. Again, we're looking at multiple stocks. But yeah, so this is what the daily chart looks like. The big spikers like this, where I prefer a first Green Day off of a multi-day runner. But when I look at stocks that have this nice first Green Day, not first Green Day, but first day one spike, and it's really nice, I'll look for the first Green Days on these. If they are big names and they are very sought at, like not sought at, but like looked at and paid attention to. AMTD, if you do not know, is the stock that is also related to HKD. So it's got a lot of eyes on its name. It proved it has some spikeability. If you guys don't know, I did a whole breakdown on HKD. It was a massive squeezer, which went from what was it, $12 to like $2,555. It was insane. But this is the stock that it's related to, so it has tons of eyes. Anytime it moves, people pay attention. So that's why I was looking for the first Green Day. But anyways, let's look at the intraday for this chart. Okay, so here's the intraday chart for AMTD. Now, since we had to go back so far, all the way to last year of September, we only can look at the 5-minute chart, so I do apologize in advance for that. It would be a lot nicer if we can look at the 1 minute, but pretty much what we're going to be looking at is, like I said, we're going to be looking at multiple stocks, and why we're going to be looking at a couple of these is because I did notice last year, around September, that first Green Days had this pattern where what they do is that out of the open, they would create kind of like a cup and handle. They would hold either above or below the high day, and then we'd see that break, and we'd see a really nice move on that first Green Day. So AMTD did the same thing. It did the cup and handle. Again, it doesn't look as it usually does, because these are 5-minute candles. It's the lowest we can go. But yeah, just real easy, really nice moves. These are the markings from when I went over this in the midweek recap. So this is how I would have traded it. We would have bought that break from consolidation, risking that low a day, and then I would have sold accordingly. But yeah, just real nice move, real easy. So the whole problem with these, there we go, see that. So the whole problem with these first Green Days is that they're kind of easy to spot on the daily, right? You kind of, like I said, you have those big moves, whether it's a big first like day one spiker, or it's the multi day run. But then it kind of comes down. We're looking for that bounce. We're looking for, hey, it's had a bit of a sell off, but we do want volume. The hard part is trading them and knowing when is that first green day, right? Because who's to say wasn't this going to be the second day or the third day, right? So having little edges like that really helps. Like, let's look at NRBO. Now NRBO, same thing. We are looking right here. So again, nice. Let's move the camera. Nice multi-day run. It had the day one right here, the day two, and then it had a bit of choppiness right here, right? Big kind of sell off right here though. But see how it has this big run, and then it comes down. And now we're looking for that bounce play. It had 1, 2, 3 red days. I'm not really going to count this as a red day, as what I'm kind of looking at. I'm more looking at these three. But look at this day. That bounce on the daily. Not only did it bounce on the daily, look at that volume. Again, volume is very, very important when it comes to first screen days. They're kind of tricky because the thing is that the volume won't come in until it's making the move on the first screen days. So I look for a little bit more elevated volume in the morning, but like slightly. I know you're not gonna in the mornings be like, oh, heavy volume. This is it, first screen day. So you really want to wait for it to set up. So patience is key on first screen days. For me, I am very conservative with my first screen days. I want more so on that fourth day or on that third day. I know a lot of people buy it right after that first red day, and that just doesn't make sense to me. I want multiple red days before we see this first screen day, this nice bounce. Because even think about it, if you're looking at this from intraday and you're going to dip buy, the bigger the drop, the better that bounce is going to be. So I don't want that first initial little sell off. I want this thing to really kind of come down a little bit and we can have a nice better bounce on that daily. But volume is a key, so when I do get in it, I am looking for that volume to start perking up, especially when it breaks certain key levels. But this was NRBO. We're gonna look at the intraday for this as well. But like I said, as you can see, this one was a multi-day mover. It did gap down and have that dump day, but then it gapped up. I guess this was a little bit of a initial short squeeze. I guess shorts got a little aggressive with this, and they got squeezed after hours or pre-market, and that's why we have the elevated volume. But yeah, that was that first green day move here. Now let's look at it on the intraday. So intraday on this was kind of the same, a little different. So again, these are 5-minute candles. So as you can see, like I said, in the morning, it looks like no volume, but very, very little volume. Even very little right here. It wasn't until it does this kind of like, again, like a cup and handle. It wasn't exactly like a AMTD, but again, these aren't always the same. I kind of just found a little edge, and that's why I liked them so much, and I was trading them so much. But as you can see, just same kind of move, whereas by that high day break, as you can see now that volume comes in, and now it has that insane volume day. So it's really not going to happen until it makes that move. So if you're not seeing too much volume in the morning, wait for the setup. Get in, and then when you see that volume come in, that's when you can kind of know, okay, first green day is happening. That's that better indicator where it's like it's looking good. And then again, this is how I would have sold, but you can see it was slightly different. So that's just how I look at it. This doesn't mean anything for me. I wouldn't want to buy this break, but even then, you can see volume does come in from this little break. So if you were a bit more aggressive with this, you could definitely take in this area. Risking that low day, great risk reward. But I would have wanted this move a little bit more instead of that one. This one just has a bit more confirmation on it. This one can still easily fail. But yeah, really nice move. Again, first green day. Let's get this one off the screen. Next one we're looking at is one I actually traded, which is Peggy. So, insane move. Insane move, as we can see. Now, we talked about runners, and I don't think a lot of people know what runners are, or really seen runners. I personally love to trade them. They are stocks that do stuff like this, right? We have that day 1, day 2, and day 3, right? 3 insane days where it goes from just under $1 to pretty much $5, gapping insane. Volume was incredible, right? And then we had that kind of pullback here because this is a red day because it closed below the other day's close. So it was green on the day, but technically it was still a red day. And then we kind of saw this little bounce here. Again, I would not call this a first green day. I want more than one red day. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't understand why people. Like I feel like a lot of traders look for excuses to trade. They look for anything. Like they take a play and they look for excuses to change the market to fit that play. When instead, I feel like you should wait for them to match and then look for the little discrepancies, and that's what you have to adapt to be able to execute well. That's the only difference. I feel like the plays fundamentally should all stay the same. You should not be changing certain things to fit a play. So if it's just one red day, I'm not really counting that as a first green day. I at least want two. So this was more just a little pullback and then second leg, and that's where you kind of see here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 green days with one little pullback. So really nice multi-day runner. This is just beautiful. Volume is great. And then as you can see, it's kind of falling off. Now we're on the back end or the back side of the move here. Right now we're more so heavier resistance, a little bit tougher to trade. But now it starts coming down, right? We see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red days before we finally see that first green day. So that's why, again, you have to be very careful, not just assume. You don't know how many red days it's going to have before it has that first green day. And again, this first green day might never happen. So it's kind of one of those things where it's be very careful when watching. So for me, the reason I liked it on this day and why I was looking for this first green day is because I was actually watching it around here. It pulled back right here, bounced really high. This looks like a solid level. But then it kind of holds again, and then you're thinking, oh, maybe this day is going to be that first green day, but then that falls off. Since this closed so weak, it kind of gave me a little bit of a confidence that the next day was going to be the first green day. You know what I mean? Because you look for that final sell-off, that little bit higher volume, just kind of just getting whatever shorts, just keep getting out. Longs that are under on their position, they're getting out. I don't know. You just want that final sell-off, that final wave of selling momentum, and then that's when you have that relief, and that's when that bounce comes in. So that's when this day happened. Again, I was looking for my edge that I was noticing at the time, and I saw it. So that's why I played it. So as you can see here, I played it poorly, but I did play it. So again, volume was low. We have that little cup and handle. It holds on top of the support this time, support resistance. I ended up buying in. I wanted to buy in again here, but that's when I messed up, and then I got a bad sell. But as you can see, volume starts to come in. This one took a little bit longer. It consolidated more. I was just kind of trying to lock in profits, and then it has that big move, and that's where I get my last piece off. And there's that insane volume. Yeah, just beautiful volume all up in here. I should have been more patient and waited for more of my sells right there. But again, these first green days are all different. That's what makes them really tough, is because you need to really study the daily chart and make sure, okay, does this thing have enough eyes on it? Is this going to have people that are waiting there for that dip on the daily, and looking for that last kind of bullish move, right? Where longs can really get there. Not every time it does. And like I said, you don't know how many red days are going to happen until that first green day happens, if it does. And then these intraday charts are all different. So then it's like that's kind of like the two-step kind of factor that makes it really hard. Like the concepts of them are easy, but then you need the daily chart to be good, and then you need to find support and resistance and within the intraday, and find good risk reward to be able to trade them well. Like I said, I found this edge, but we also can go and we can look at. Actually, we can just delete that. GNS. That's one that was recent, right? So if we look at this recent play, we have that first green day. Not that I keep saying the first green day. It's just the day one spiker. So we had the day one spiker right here. Great volume. Gaps insane, but then pulls back. But this is still second green day. Still closed above the other day's close. So this is still technically green. And then it kind of falls off into what seems like the backside of the move, but as you can see, we have that second leg, this little staircase. But the first green day was right here on the 27th. And by the way, some people do play this. I don't, because it's a little extra riskier. Some people do like playing the gap after that first green day. you notice the other charts, we can actually go look at them real quick. So I don't play it because, again, it's a little extra risky. I'd rather just play the intraday part of it. But like right here, this did gap from the close after its first screen day. NRBO. NRBO didn't. NRBO actually gapped down, so that's why it's a bit more of a gamble. But Peggy, as you can see, that one did. That one gapped up. And then GNS gapped up after its first screen day as well. So it's kind of hit or miss. I know some people like playing those moves. They like seeing a first screen day, and if they miss it and they weren't able to catch the intraday move, because again, the intraday move is also a gamble. It's kind of which one are you able to be better at. And let's say they just weren't as good as finding, hey, is this the actual day? So they see when the day actually happens, they're like, okay, it traded enough volume, it closed pretty strong. This is the first screen day. I'm buying overnight for that gap play. But again, that doesn't always happen. If you track them and get good at them, and that's something you can do, awesome, that's great. But I prefer to more play the intraday play instead of the gap. This one was a way better gap after its first screen day. But as you can see, backside of the move is kind of rolling over. Great support here at 3-1, and that's where we see that first screen day. Slightly elevated volume, but not much. But then let's go and let's look at the intraday. So the intradays we've seen for all the other ones were similar. This one is not. And this is why first screen days can be tricky. So again, not much volume. It kind of looks like it's going to come out of the open. And again, I see a lot of people. We're going to look at BuzzFeed after this. But I see a lot of traders, when they're trying to trade the first screen day, again, they get too eager and they're trading the first screen day way too early in the daily chart setup, where, like I said, they're trading it right after the first red day, or they're trading it like very soon in it. And again, the more red days, the better. But after a certain amount, like, people just lose interest and forget about it. So you kind of want to find that sweet spot. Again, usually that fourth day, it being the first screen day, or the third is the best. Like 2 or 3 red days before the first screen day is what seems like is the most ideal. If it's by key support, that is even better, especially if it breaks through the key support and then kind of holds up. That really gives kind of confirmation to a first screen day. But for this one, like, I like to see the intradays set up. I want the actual setup. So I see people would go and they'd buy it, like, right, it spikes a little bit and it has that pullback and then the spike. And like, okay, cool, the first screen, this is the confirmation. And they go and they buy it right here. But as you can see, it kind of gets stuffed at this resistance, goes down, actually breaks a low day and holds this support. And then it goes and makes the move. So you don't know kind of what's going to happen. So that's kind of why you want to see the strength of it. For me personally, if I was watching this more, I didn't really like GNS because it was choppy like this. But if I was looking for this for the first screen day move, right here is my indicator that it might be the first screen day move, right? Because it kind of comes down. Volume's not all that special. It holds this support, and then volume starts to come in for that brief little bit. So it shows, hey, it still has eyes on it. It's got that momentum. It's holding this support. And then I'm looking at it around this area. Now, would I try to buy somewhere in this little run-up? Possibly. I'd prefer to take one of these dips. I'd prefer to take one of these dips right above this support resistance, and then risk the bottom of that support resistance. That's where the volume really comes in as well. And then you can catch this little move. It has that secondary kind of probably squeeze, because people were probably really shorting it, which is why it had that big gap. But that's it. That's first screen days. I don't want to get too much into it because we've already been doing this for 20 minutes. So what I mean too much into it, we went pretty in depth in it. So yeah, first screen days, all they are is that if a stock had that nice big move that first day, not the first day, I keep saying it, and I feel like it's going to mess people up, and I'm really sorry about that. But if it has that initial day one move, and it had a lot of eyes and a lot of volume, maybe a good catalyst, and it starts to have the 2-day kind of stutter, maybe it has that first screen day, maybe after 3, especially with the runners. If runners are way more likely to have a first screen day than just a day one spiker. So if you are seeing a stock and it is kind of maybe promoted, whether it's from a promoter or a chat room or on Twitter or on Reddit, if they start to have that kind of pullback on the daily, that first screen day could be a nice move. Again, they are not guaranteed to happen all the time. They could just very easily just fade out and just not have one at all. So be very careful of that. Again, multi-day runners do have a higher chance, but again, it's not guaranteed. When looking and trading the first green day, volume is very key. It is the kind of the confirmation that it is working at least, and it has that momentum. And if it has momentum, chances are it can spike a little bit. But sometimes it does get stuff and comes down. Nothing's guaranteed in this market, so do your own due diligence. But yeah, so I'd be waiting for confirmation on first green days on the intraday. We actually can switch right over real quick because I did say we were going to look at BuzzFeed, and then we're going to close it out here. So BuzzFeed tried to have that first green day. As you can see, it had the 2-day move. It has this come down 1, 2, 3, 4 red days. It tried to have that first green day Friday, but it just really did not work out. So maybe Monday we'll see it. But as you can see, it might not happen. It might just it could curl and move up, or it could go back down. So again, it's not guaranteed. Be very careful, but wait for it to set up. Be patient with it. Most times, first green days, they are going to set up. They are going to be slow, and then they're going to make the move. Look for key little indicators. And again, the more you trade them, the more you study them, the more you look at them, the more you'll find a sense and an instinct for them, and the better you will trade them. But yeah, that's it. Again, do your own due diligence with the stuff. Track them, right? Track them. Figure out the best way that you want to trade them, because there is kind of multiple ways. But that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Hopefully you start trading some first green days. Let me know if you do, how that works out. But that is going to be it, everybody. Hope you enjoyed, and peace.
I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I want to be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss. See, I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python.